Here's a quick YouTuber behind the scenes trick for you. If you are coming down with something and you've got sinuses out the wazoo, but you still need to film a video, you hop in the shower real quick, turn the heat all the way up, and then start filming the minute you are out of the shower, still a little damp. And then you pray that your voice is gonna make it through the entire video. All right, today's video is going to be a little bit different than anything I've done on this channel in the past. Quick montage. So I guess before I get to what I just drew on the back of this Papa John's pizza box, I should introduce myself. My name is Ryan. I have another YouTube channel, but this channel, For the Love of Running, is kind of brand new, and I'm new at this. I have been running almost all of my life since middle school. I ran in high school and then in college at Wabash College, which is a D3 school, and then I kind of made my way to the trail and ultramarathon world. And that is going to be the focus of this channel, my training and my running, and kind of my life of running. So by day, I work at a running store. I'm an assistant manager at a store here in Indianapolis. And then I come home at the end of the day and I run, and then I read and I write about running and I follow other runners. And so much of my life is running that it kind of just makes sense that I should document some of it and put it out on this channel. But that is not the purpose of today's video. I just wanted to get the quick introduction out there because I don't think I'd said anything yet on the channel so far. The purpose of today's video is to introduce something that is going to be happening for the next many months, for the next like 5 months at this point, 5 or 6 months. I will be running the Tahoe Rim Trail 50 miler in July in Lake Tahoe, California. I realized as soon as I said that actually the race takes place in Nevada, and that I should have done my research before I started this video. Anyways, the Tahoe Rim Trail 50 will be my second ever 50 miler, and it takes place July 21st, which is a long ways off from now, you know, the beginning of March, but it is also going to be one of the more difficult races I've ever run, probably the most difficult race I've ever run. The 150 miler that I've done before was, you know, it went really well. It was the American River 50 last year. It went really well for about 38 miles, and then it went very poorly. And that is a story for another time on this channel. I think I'll tell that story someday. But that race humbled me in a way that I've never been humbled before. And the thing about Tahoe Rim Trail 50, TRT 50, is that it is, you know, a degree of magnitude harder, at least. It takes place at elevation. The American River 50 did not take place at significant elevation. The TRT 50 averages something like 8,000 feet of elevation. Here in Indianapolis, at something like 1,000, maybe below 1,000 feet of elevation, it's going to be nearly impossible to train for elevation. 2, the Tahoe Rim Trail 50 has a lot more vertical gain and vertical descent. I think it's got something like 9,000 feet of elevation gain and descent. That's more than I've ever done in a race before, so obviously that also scares the shit out of me. I don't think they'll be the most technical trails I've ever run, but it's going to be 50 miles of trail, of legit trail, whereas the American River 50 has like 25-30 miles on paved stuff, so that's a little bit easier. So if you can't tell from my descriptions, I am obviously a little terrified of this race, and I'm a little bit questioning why I signed up for it, but also I'm so looking forward to training and to trying to run this race. The thing I did in 2017 that I want to do again this year is I tried something that seemed stupid. I had only run a couple 50Ks before, and all of a sudden I was training for the American River 50. And in the course of that training, it went really well, and I totally fell in love with the feeling of doing something that had seemed impossible, or at least getting in shape to do something that had seemed impossible just a couple months ago. So my 2018 is going to try and follow that same theme. I'm going to try and run Tahoe Rim Trail 50 without access to elevation. You know, it'll be the hardest race I've ever run. It'll be a kind of test that I haven't been through before. It'll be probably the longest time I've ever spent on my feet in one day. And I'm excited. I'm hyped for it. So why am I talking about it like 5 months in advance? the thing that I'm going to do on this YouTube channel is I'm going to try and document that process of getting ready for the Tahoe Rim Trail 50. Last year, in the kind of build up to American River, I had about the most fun running I'd ever had before. I was putting myself through the ringer in terms of training. I was making kind of leaps and bounds in terms of fitness. And I just had so much fun getting out the door every day and getting onto the trails. And I look back on that time so fondly. I was living in California. I was living like an hour's drive from Auburn, California, the endurance capital of the world. And I could be on those trails 4 days a week. And I missed that so much. And it's such a special time. Like, it holds a place in my heart that I think will forever be precious to me. And I hope that this training for Tahoe Rim Trail 50 will be kind of similar. I mean, I know I'm in a completely different part of the country. The trails look a lot different here, but this is also my home. And a summer or an early summer where you're training for a big race just seems like a recipe for success in terms of like living life to the fullest and kind of grabbing it by the horns. So I want to document that process here on the channel with videos about my workouts, my trail runs, my reflections, the ups and downs, the incredible roller coaster of what it takes to get to the start line, and then hopefully to the finish line. So on to craft time. What I was doing in that montage, I was making something that looks a little stupid now that it's finished, and will definitely be a little corny in the many coming months, but I'm gonna do it anyways because I think that's half the battle in life, is just accepting the corniness and rolling with it. This is a graph of my mileage, the trail to Tahoe, this series, you know, these next many months on this YouTube channel. These are the 22 weeks from now, or from 2 weeks ago, until the Tahoe Rim Trail 50, July 21st, 2018. So as I've said in other videos, I'm coming off of a race 2 weeks ago. I just put in 2 weeks of recovery mileage at like 40 miles a week. You know, now that I'm just stupidly holding this sign up, I think what I'm gonna do is actually tape this bad daddy up. Make sure we get it facing the right way. There is no way in hell that is staying up every day that I'm in my room, but maybe occasionally when I make these either weekly or bi-weekly check-in videos, I'll put this thing up and fill it in and kind of show you where my progress is going. As you may have noticed, this has some pretty crappily drawn marks of the kind of mileage that I want to hit for a goal over these next many weeks. So I guess I should talk real quick about kind of what I want these remaining 20 weeks of training to look like. During that training last summer for American River, I did some things really well, and then I also did a couple things pretty stupidly. And that, combined with kind of my experiences training in college at pretty high mileage, or at least high mileage for me, I think I've learned something from a couple, you know, from those two experiences that I want to kind of put to the test here in this big training block. I still think that my fitness is kind of like untapped. My potential is untapped in the ultramarathon distances. I think that I've got some stuff to, you know, I've got some fast times to throw down, hopefully. I've got myself to surprise mostly. Like, I think I can do more than I thought possible for a really long time. And I want to kind of prove it to myself and to kind of see what I'm made of and try and do it. Here is what the training is going to look like. I've got a kind of a method of building up mileage. I hit 40 for the last 2 weeks. I think this week I'll be at 50. And then I'm going to kind of stair-step my way up pretty slowly, but I would like to ideally get to some of the highest mileage I've ever been at. I peaked out in college at, I think, 9 straight weeks of 90 miles a week. And I'd like to actually go higher than that. I'd like to hit 100 for the first time ever. I think that'll be a little easier this time. I know that sounds a little stupid, but in college, the longest run I could ever do was 20 miles. There's no reason to go any longer than that. At least we didn't believe there was to try and race fast at like a 5K or an 8K or a 10K. Obviously, the best thing about training for a 50 miler is that we're going to go a lot longer than that. And so on the weekends, I can eat up a little bit more of my weekly mileage. So I'm hoping that means that the weeks, you know, they're not going to be easier by any means, but I think the kind of chunk of mileage might be a little easier to reach with a really long run on the weekends. Anyways, this kind of progression of mileage I think will get me there. Not too quickly. I think I'll get there and kind of be feeling good maybe hopefully a month or a month and a half out of the race by kind of going like 50, 55, 50, 60, 65, 60, etc. So you're building a little bit, but you're also getting every third week a kind of down week to recover. So what does that mean for this channel? Kind of like I said, I'd just like to document the process of what it's like to go through this training. I want to look back in a year or 2 years and kind of see pretty often some videos of what it was like to be on the ground, out on the trail, training for Tahoe, which at this point is going to be the toughest race I've done yet. So you can expect probably some videos from out on the trail. I'm getting to try and get better and also get a little bit better of technology to try and take some videos out on the trail or on the track or the roads. And then you can also probably expect some kind of weekly check-ins like this where I just talk about, you know, how my training's going, what I'm worried about, what I'm feeling really good about. I'm sure, you know, no one ever makes a training plan 20 weeks long and then expects everything to just be smooth sailing the entire time. I'm sure in 20 weeks plenty of stuff is going to go wrong. It already has. I'm already getting a little sick. And I'm sure other things are going to go really right. So I'm excited to kind of ride that roller coaster, and I'd obviously be honored if you would ride that roller coaster with me. I do think this is going to be a pretty, you know, I don't want to jinx it, but all the signs are pointing to this being a pretty like good summer for me one way or the other. Like, you know, if I get in a really good training block and then something happens and I don't even get to race Tahoe Rim Trail 50, the training block has to be enough, right? Like the process has to be enough. And I'm really excited to just go through that process. I really want to keep these videos, that's probably the note I'll end on. I really want to keep these videos kind of process oriented. I'm not going to talk about, you know, my predictions for the race every week. Instead, I'm just going to kind of put my nose down and look about 3 feet in front of me and do whatever's on the docket for that day or that week, whether it's hill workouts or speed workouts or what have you. So anyways, I would really appreciate it if along the way I had your support. Obviously, this is a no pressure thing, but if you want to kind of help support this channel or help support this project, this training, I would be happy if I get to the end of this and still me and my girlfriend and maybe my mom are watching these videos. But it'd be really cool to kind of connect with other runners and to see what's going on in your lives. So if you like the way you help get this channel to other runners is you hit subscribe or you hit like or you leave comments. It's really that simple. So just keep checking back with me. I'll make videos. I look forward to meeting some of you guys in the comments. Yeah, I'm excited to do this. I'm a little nervous if you can't tell. Like 20 weeks is a long time. 50 miles is a long freaking way. 9,000 feet of elevation gain is a long way. You know, it's a long bit of climbing. But, you know, I do this thing because it scares me and because it's amazing to challenge yourself and then come out the other side of that and have learned something. So I hope we all learn something together, as absolutely corny as that sounds. So I will see you guys in a video pretty soon. Thanks.